Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Pisces. If Pisces is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, let's see what the tea leaves have for you, Pisces. Let's see if I can just kind of move that right there. It's a little, the light's a little bit in my eyes today. Okay, let's see. I'm going to pull this away. Well, this is kind of an interesting formation here. And this light, I don't want it to be too washed out. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Well, Pisces, I hope that you are doing well. I'm so excited to have you here. If this is your first time, welcome to the channel. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. I always am just so honored to be able to communicate with all of you. And, if you enjoy this video, if it resonates with you, or if you just like listening to it, please think about liking the video. That will help me get into the algorithm and get to more people. And if you really like it and you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the page. Okay, let's look at, there's a lot of, if we look at this, a lot of these formations are on this side of the bowl, okay? And these other ones, they're little, but they do, obviously have some meaning. So we're going to look at all that we can that kind of pertain to what we're reading here. Okay, so let's get this up here. And I'm going to, this light, I do my readings at different parts of the day. Like, it's never a set time, which hopefully once my daughter's in school, I can kind of set a time. But the lighting always has to be a little different. Okay, so we see a big whale right here. Here's the whale, here's the tail, okay? This is in the physical realm, but right on the cusp of this emotional, psychic, what's the word? Like your thinking, the things that are on your mind quite often, okay? And it makes sense to me that that symbol in particular would be right there. This is a very watery symbol, obviously. These are the largest beings in the ocean, and I believe the largest mammals on Earth. Are they mammals? Yes, I think. I always do this whenever I bring up the particulars. I start to say something and I'm like, wait a second. Let me think about that Discovery Channel thing that I watched. But the beautiful thing about the whales, very, very spiritual animal, very heavily tied into folklore of oceanic peoples, of indigenous peoples, of peoples all over the world, right? So the whale, psychic, number one. I always tie this to a very psychic person. So with the Pisces, not very surprised, okay? You all tend to be pretty psychically advanced or in tune with your psychic abilities, okay? The other thing is, the whale it's perceived to be a solitary being, especially in symbology, although that isn't really true. We know that they travel in families and little packs. I don't know what they're called scientifically, but they do swim in groups. But for the sake of this reading and to tie back to the symbolism of a whale traditionally, aside from a mother whale, which is, with their calves. I do know what they call the babies. They call them calves. These are solitary, thoughtful, although they do move fast. The thinking is they're big, they move slower, they're slower to emotional peaks. through the symbolism, right? Okay, so these also just calming, okay? They communicate with each other in frequencies that we humans find calming. That's why we listen to their sounds on, they're recorded, and we listen to them with white noise usually, so that we can go to sleep, or we can meditate, or, just kind of an ambient sound in the background. So whales in general, just all together, this is a very, very beautiful and indicator of heavy psychic presence in your life right now. There is a lot going on there. And because it's in this physical into the mental, I think that these things are manifesting in your physical life. You're interacting with them through signs, symbols, synchronicities. But you also are probably getting some degree of dreams, visions, things coming through, thoughts just coming to mind, or something that people say, and I don't really know how else. I call it revelation, not revelation, but things being revealed, knowledge being bestowed, that kind of thing. But other people popularly like to call it getting information downloads, like in their sleep, and during vision work, or whatever, path working, or whatever it is that you do. So these are kind of like, I always picture when they're saying downloads or whatever, like they get an email full of like factoids and whatever, just information about whatever it is that they're receiving. So you might be getting things like this. Okay. For me, I get it a lot in my dream spaces. I have these reoccurring dreams of going to like school, or being with some of the manifestations of my, I guess you would call maybe guardian angel, daemon, higher self, beloved, whatever you like to call it, as a mentor figure, and kind of like showing me things on a whiteboard, and making diagrams so I understand how things work and whatever. That's kind of how it happens for me personally. Okay, so let's see. I think you have a lot of that stuff going on. Now, if you look closely on this little whale, and I'm gonna try, I want to see if I can get it maybe right there, and it's gonna be a little darker, but right here it looks like there's a tiny little owl sitting, and let's see, there we go, right there. Okay, and I'm not gonna be able to get the light exactly how I want to in the angle where I'm seeing it, but trust me, okay? Go with me for this ride. We have this whale right here, and riding on the back here, a whale. This owl sitting on the whale, okay? And for me, always, almost always, often anyways, the owl is a sign of the watcher, okay? And for me, the watcher means similar to that feeling of a guardian angel, your conscience, like a, conscience, or, a spirit guide. It could be an ancestor. It could be any number of things, how you perceive or relate to this. But this is something that is looking over your life, is interacting with you in these spiritual and psychic places, okay? And helping guide the things that you need to you, but mostly watching, okay? They're observing. And so I feel that you also have this kind of feeling, you have the feeling of being watched, of being kind of looked over. And that could feel safe, but that could also feel almost like, like, it's like when you're in a crowded room and you can just feel somebody looking at you, and you turn and look and there is somebody like staring at you. That kind of feeling, right? The little kind of tingly feeling that I'm being, I'm being looked at. And I think it's kind of a throwback to like a survival instinct, right? That you're being preyed upon, or, something is stalking you. And that's not what I'm saying, but I think that's interrelated with that sensation that we feel when something is looking at us, right? So I feel like this is tied into this definite psychic. I think also, though, it's like I get this feeling of coming into a very potent, stable era of this kind of psychic work that you're doing, okay? And I don't know if it's intentional psychic work, and you might even think of it as intuitional, or you just have really good people skills, or you're good at, kind of just filling out the situation, and that's all true. I think those kinds of things are very true, and that's kind of how I feel about how my own experience with it is. Like, it's a kind of a composite of different reasons why I'm so aware of my surroundings, of how things are coming into my life. I'm just like, I'm very vigilant in the happenings and the people around me, the things that are occurring, to a fault, definitely. Not almost to a fault, to a fault. But I think that you don't necessarily have to be doing divination work or clairvoyance or psychic work or anything that is in line with that kind of thinking. But I think that you are coming into a place where it's very potent. You are aligning with your feelings about things. I think that you're also making decisions based on those feelings. Like, you're also, and on top of all of that, it's developing into real wisdom for you. These are becoming ingrained tools of wisdom. Okay, you are taking these informations that are coming to you, and you are transmuting them from knowledge into wisdom. And this is really what this symbol is all about right here. Okay, and I think that's really coming together nicely for you. It's very powerful. Okay, now I want to turn this. We're going to go to the next one. This formation in the middle is very interesting to me. I see a person pointing, okay? And below, kind of on this line of ground or wherever they're standing, it looks like a long piece of, ground or pathway. But then there's this one right here. And it looks like this is a long dog here, like a wiener dog or something, right? But I think, and this is very much related to this other formation, and we'll see how here it's pointing kind of right this way, this other formation of this upright dog, and this dog is holding something. Okay, and if you can see that, and it's facing right towards this being here. Okay, so let's talk about that. For me, often I relate the coyotes, the dogs, the canines, to not all dogs, because dogs also are like best friends and loyal and that kind of thing. But I heavily relate them to our spirit guides. Okay, these are, and because they are so close, the actual species of canine that we've domesticated, they live so seamlessly in our everyday lives. They're very, we're immersed in their lives, they're immersed in our lives. Okay, they are parallel to each other. That is one reason why I identify these with like a spirit animal or a class of spirit entities or extra dimensional beings that kind of interact with us and help guide us and give us information and this kind of thing. But they're also protectors of us, okay? And also probably, in some paradigms of thinking, they are manifestations of parts of ourselves, right? That help protect us. Kind of a guardian, okay? So I see this person. There's this kind of spirit dog really running out in front of it. So it leads me to believe, that there is, I'm sorry, I'm getting this weird position here. I have this new setup and I haven't figured out exactly how I like it yet. It leads me to believe that there's some amount, I don't want to say trouble exactly, but it feels like you're perceiving that there's some amount of trouble coming into your life. There is something on the borderlands of your perception that you feel like is coming towards you, okay? And this could be in your dreams. You're having bad dreams. There's something showing up. You can't necessarily see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, whatever, but you just have this feeling that it's there. I think it's very much like this sensation of this watcher that I'm talking about. Now, the watcher, though, up here on the whale, that is a protective, okay? These dogs showing up are also protective, but they're also showing up because there's something happening that feels like it's kind of like surrounding, or almost like the sensation of like a looming presence, if that makes sense. Almost like an oppressive kind of energy, something thick, heavy, like you can't breathe all the way, okay? It's like a very kind of like slightly staggering kind of feeling, okay? So when you go like walk into a place and it just feels weird, it feels off, right? And you're just like, okay, this is not going to be, I don't want to stay here. Whatever it is, I don't know exactly what it is, but I don't really like it, okay? So I see that this dog is kind of running out in front of you, kind of checking out what is going on. I see this person, that could be you, especially where it's positioned, it could be you. And I think this is a part of yourself that's really in charge of, taking care of you, mind, body, soul. And I think is pointing, look over to this direction. Now, it's interesting because this dog is standing up. So it's almost like, I feel like it's like, well, I immediately thought like, oh, it's a werewolf. Now I don't, obviously I understand the folklore of a werewolf, but I don't know how that would really spiritually relate. Aside from, maybe this is a person in your life or a being in your life that transforms wildly, okay? Almost like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Somebody who in different cycles is like totally normal, totally fine, very kind, studious, respectful, but then at the most bizarre times turns on you and it comes for blood, okay? So an unstable force, right? And they have a weird energy. And I think that you definitely have felt that. You have, I feel like you've just really been put off by them for some reason. For this reason, the energy, but they've done things that have put you off, but for whatever reason, you keep giving them chances, okay? And I see them holding this, and whatever they're holding, and I'm looking at it, I'm trying to figure out what it is. It almost kind of looks like a baby or something, like a child. Maybe they are a family member who has a child that you know, like a nephew, niece. I do not think this is your own child, but I think that it has like the qualities of a child, a child that you know, and you want to have a relationship with them, but there's this like force that maybe it's hard for you to be too involved. Okay. And they use that as kind of a way to keep you tied to them. And that might make sense why you're not willing to just like take off, you know? And so I want to look at this as well. Now, when you take this, where the person's standing pointing, and you turn it, and this is how I originally saw it, okay? And it looks almost like a big M. It also looks like a gateway, but to me, really what it symbolizes is kind of an entrance, a doorway into a home, a doma, a place that is sacred to you. So that's why I would say your home. It could be a temple. It could be, you know, a shared religious space. But it's somewhere where you go and you feel very protected, at home, at ease. Okay. And with this being over here, this kind of werewolfy being with the little baby, I feel like almost there could be like a situation where this person is coming into your safe space, or they're trying to. I almost kind of like think of like, are they like trying to stay with you? Are they trying to, do they need somewhere to stay? And you are kind of going back and forth on, do I let them stay? You know it's going to cause problems. You know it's really going to put you out, but you're tied to this younger person who they have control over, and you don't want to say no, because it would be better to have that younger person with you in your home. But then it's this whole matter of this like kind of like almost werewolfy on off type of energy. This person that could just go absolutely nuts in your house, right? And that's a big decision. That's a hard thing to kind of think over. Like, what do you do with something like that? I'm not, I'm not one to give advice on subjects like this, because I don't ever have anybody to my house. Not because I don't want people to stay or whatever. I don't like hosting that much. And, my husband and I are not social people, really. So, I don't really have, we don't have a lot of close relationships where people would come and stay with us. Let's just say that, okay? So, now let's look here. So that's something you really got to think about. I mean, oh my goodness, that's a hard one. That gives me anxiety just thinking about it, honestly. I kind of hate that for you to be in a situation like that. But I think, you're a resilient person. And with this whale energy up here, I really think that you are fortified emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and you have your guardian, your spiritual guardians really looking out for you. Okay. Now I want to look at these ones because they're interesting. It looks like two eyes, maybe, looking. But I also see a C and an O. And that is interesting to me because, this one also looks like it has a C on the inside. It looks like an O and a C. Then this one looks like a C, but then an O on the inside. So they really are mirroring each other. And I think that these are important letters for you. I mean, they're so big and bold. Okay. And so if you have a C and an O. Now over here, we have either a Y or a T. Okay. So let's think about, while you're watching this, think about, do you know somebody with a T or a Y name? Okay. Or is there an important word that's T or Y? Do you know somebody with a C? Do you know somebody with an O? First names or descriptive qualities about them. Any of those. It could be all the same person. It could be, a first letter for 3 different people's names. I don't know exactly. But those are the letters to look out for. Y or T, C, and O. Okay. Now, I see... Let me see here. Okay, I wanted to look at this in 2 ways. This one up here. I know it's little, but these are important sometimes, these little guys. I see a feminine formation. It is wearing like a robe or a dress, and it's reaching up towards the sky, towards the psychic, okay? And then on the other, if we kind of just turn it this way, right there. Okay, then it looks like an angel kind of holding a trumpet. Okay, so both symbols to me are super important. They both make me think that there is a deep aspect of yourself really looking for help and guidance, and just to be kind of held and told by the divine that everything's going to be okay. I think that this really is an important time for you to be writing down appeals, writing down your intentions, things that you want to happen, things that, and I'm not saying this like it's like a spell or something, but just for your own consciousness, for your prayer work, and for you to be clear about your intentions. And these are things that sometimes in your head you think one thing, you write it down, you look at it in a couple days and you think that's not exactly what I mean. So you go through and you kind of shift what exactly are your intentions, what is your will, what are you willing to do, what do you want the outcome to be, okay? And I think this is a good time to work on that, okay? Keep a little notebook or a piece of paper or whatever you have, write those things down. Really be clear with yourself. What do you want? What are you willing to do? Okay. And what do you want the outcome to look like? Now, making the appeals to the higher beings or your spiritual, realm or to yourself, right? Then you can, once you figure it out what exactly in a clear and concise way, you make these appeals, okay? Or you pray. Same, they're not exactly the same, but they're similar, okay? And then you do your praying and you lay yourself out. You learn to, kind of open yourself up and be vulnerable and accepting of what comes for you. Okay, and then you work from there. And that's what I think this work is really about in this situation, is really deciding how to go about this stuff, how to figure it out, or to figure out what you are willing to take on. Okay, honestly, not, and this is so important. Okay, I mean, really, this is an important factor in all of this. We can have our best intentions, right? We can have the things that we say to ourselves or we say out loud to others. But in reality, we have to think about what resources do we have emotionally, physically, money, food, space in our home. Do you have other people living in your home? Are they do they need help? Are they sick? Or, are they young? What kind of time do you have? What can you fit in this stuff to your time management? Yes, especially when people are family, we think we'll do anything for family. It doesn't matter what, okay? And that's a beautiful sentiment, but when it comes down to the practicalities of things, we have to be honest with ourselves. If we want to be healthy and live lives that are productive, we have to take on what we can manage. Okay. And sometimes, things happen, and I understand that. And you just have to take on stuff that you just, might really throw your life into turmoil. And that's just what it is. Okay. And I get that. But when we have things that I think in like this message, the real message here is, yes, you have these things going on with this person. You're doing the work. You're, really, and you're doing very well, I think, with that. But the important part of this message truly is about being honest with yourself, being realistic, okay? Doing little exercises, writing it down, working it out, making plans. Can you afford this? Do you have the time? Where can you fit in? What are they going to expect of you? Okay. And how much are you going to put up with if it really is a situation that is too much? It's, so you have to set those boundaries. On top of that, and this is really for you if this is resonating with you and you're talking about bringing somebody into your home that you might have some conflict with, how respectful are they going to be of your home? Are they going to leave if you ask them to leave? Are they going to be destructive of your property, of your emotional well-being, so on? Okay, these are all things that need to factor in, and you have to really think about what you can and can't do. And if nobody else is going to give you permission to say no, I'm giving you permission. Okay, I care about how you're doing, okay, and how your life is in your home. And so if everybody else is going to say, oh, well, why don't you take them on? Why don't you have the room? You can manage it, this and that, that's your kid, or that's your, that's your kid and grandchild, or, whatever the situation could be. Okay. Why don't you take them in? If you can't, I'm giving you permission to say no. Okay. And maybe nobody else is going to say that to you, but, you have to do what's going to be best for you. Okay. Cause you can't you can't be a hostage in your own home. You can't live in a way where, you're going to get sick because somebody is causing you stress all the time, day and night. Okay. And not respecting your boundaries in that. So I know this is getting to be a pretty specific reading, but I feel like as I'm looking at this, you really need to hear that if this is your situation. And it feels like it really could be. Okay. On the upside of this, I'm going to set this down. I want to bring this up. We have this cup, the Ace of Cups, right? One of the best cards in my opinion. This is the deliverer of the divine spirit, the holder, the holy grail, right? Keeper of the sustenance, the thing that brings us life, creativity, spirit, sexuality, growth, vision, and, all of the things on the flip side as well. But we're going to look at this light because there's a lot of light coming out, right? So I think that this situation couldn't have happened at a better time for you. Hopefully this doesn't even resonate with you. I hope that you're not going through something where you have to deal with this stuff. But if you are, okay, it's a good time for it to be happening because I think you are really activated in yourself. I think that your vision is clear. You're abundant with spirit. Okay, you're very healthy as far as your spiritual life. I feel like your mental health is probably doing pretty well. You are in a place to make honest and clear decisions. Okay, set some healthy boundaries, and to be able to give what you can actually give. Okay, I think that you are not somebody who is going to withhold, but you're going to be realistic about what you can and can't do. Okay, you're not going to overextend yourself in a way that is going to bring you to ruin, spirit, mind, body, so on. Okay, now let's look at this. All my things are getting dry, so we got to hurry up here. All right. Now, you see this little bird here, and it's just kind of just sitting here looking on. And I'm seeing this, it looks like a detached flower. Like there's the stem, and then here is the top of the flower. We have this bird sitting. And I don't think that the flower's falling away. If anything, I think it's all coming together. Okay, and so I really think in these next 2 weeks, okay, if not 2 days, maybe it's 2 days, 2 weeks, whatever it is, it's going to come to a head, or the ask is going to happen, okay? And this is a good time to prepare for that if it hasn't happened already. If it has happened already, this is the time for you to really think about and weigh your options, decide, formulate this plan, do your prayers, wait for some answers to come through to you, and then move forward and make those decisions, okay? And I really feel like, I feel good about this reading in that I think there's going to be a good outcome, okay? For everybody involved, I think the situation will be figured out, okay? And, you know, as far as having a dynamic with somebody in your life who holds something over you, you know, I think that is something, or holds a person over you, your relationship with somebody else. And I even think about, like, you know, you have a grown child, they have a relationship, and that person they're with really like causes some conflict, or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe you're with somebody and like their mother-in-law or your mother-in-law or whatever, they really cause conflict in your relationship. The configuration of this can be varied. It doesn't have to be exactly how I'm saying this, but if you feel the vibes of the actual interaction that I'm talking about, then you know, you can apply it to your situation. But the point is, when you have somebody like that in your life, it's so important to try not to engage with them, you know, with however they want to control you with those emotional weapons, and, you know, the outpouring and conflict and all that. The thing that they really get out of this is how you react. Okay. And so, I think just being, you know, calm, patient, not engaging in, you know, reactions that they probably are looking for, negative or positive, big over, you know, big feelings and screaming, yelling, or, you know, just giving them everything they want. Either way, it's just good to think about tempering yourself, trying not to engage, even if you have to have somebody else be your go-between, you know, a third party to be the person interacting with them for you. Okay, that's okay too. So I think those are just some things to think about. I think that this is difficult, but you are so ready to deal with this as it's happening. Okay. Other than that, I think that's really our message for the day, Pisces. And I wish it was a little bit more chill and happy. And but the really good news is that you are in that good place, in that healthy place with spirit, with mind, and all of that. So, okay. Thank you so much. I'm always so honored to bring you these messages. If you would be so kind as to like the video, helps me get into the algorithm. If you would go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please leave a comment. Let me know how you're doing, what's going on with you. How does this resonate with you? Do the symbols resonate with you? If you want to find me on Facebook, I have a page. It's Ula Tea Leaf Readings. If you're interested in a private reading, I have all of the instructions down in the description of the video. Okay, thank you so much, and we will see you again shortly.